Yep. And I mean, some of it is ego too, because
Sure.
like if a strength and conditioning coach does things that look like physical, whatever that even means, right? Like that looks like physical therapy. As a physical therapist, that actually doesn't bother me at all. Like if they're competent and they're not breaking any laws, I mean, as long as you're like not violating any laws in terms of your scope of practice, like I don't care if a strength and conditioning coach like does an orthopedic assessment on somebody and they do an intervention like give somebody a more PT centric exercise, or there's physical therapists who, when a strength coach massages someone's calf with a stick, they're like, you're doing manual therapy, how dare you? Like that actually does not bother me. It's more just as you have to know, if you can't do something, who to refer the athlete to so that the athlete gets what they need. But I mean, there's so much redundancy between these professions that it's hard to say like stay in your lane, because the lanes aren't always very clear where they are. And frankly, like the problem is most people that I work with, especially like high school athletes, there's no one else but me. Like if I don't do something with them, no one's going to do it. Because I don't have you guys to hand them to. And, whether it's the athlete or the parents, like it's very hard for them to navigate the medical system and then figure out like who's a good strength coach and who's not, because you guys might be good strength coaches, but there's some strength coaches that I would never want an athlete that's 3 months post-op ACL to go to, right?
There's some strength coaches that I wouldn't want perfectly fine,
right,
high quality athletes to go to.
And there's PTs that I wouldn't want to send people to. So that's exactly the tricky part, You have to have a network of people that you can trust and refer to, where everyone, like is a team player and they're willing to put their ego aside for the betterment of the athlete. And that sounds very like easy to do, but that's really hard to do because it's like kind of hard to find those people.
Especially as a private practitioner.
Yeah.
Which we've all been at one time or another, or are.
Yeah. I just think that, and this is purely, I have no way of proving this. I think that the more specialized ability somebody has, the more that diverges from general ability, that's a little bit of a recipe for disaster. I mean, and again, I can't prove that, but it's like I work with some of these baseball players where they can throw, high 80s, low 90s, but they can't even do a good push-up with good scapular control. Or I'll put them on gymnastics rings and like just have them do like not even a full dip, like an isometric dip support, and they're like shaking all over the place. And it's like, I'm not asking people to do like an iron cross. It's like you can throw 90, but you can't even hold yourself, and it's like your elbow hurts, right? So I just think that I'm not saying people have to be superheroes in the gym, but I think if they have some general ability, it provides some level of robustness in a way that admittedly I cannot prove, but it's also kind of like, it's such a low risk, if you get this general ability and you're responsible for how you program, it's not taking away from your specific ability, but it does give people, like we talked about earlier, it gives them options. So they're not as constrained when it is time to kind of like self-organize and do specific tasks. So I'm kind of like, why not? Because what else are you going to do? You may as well like try to be somewhat generally competent.
You're asking them to do things that they're not accustomed to doing.
Right.
The psychosocial component.
Yeah. And even that might help from like a confidence standpoint, psychosocial standpoint. I just don't think it's that much to ask. Like if you can't do a split squat, but you can dunk off of one leg, like just try to like make that difference not so dramatic, But I'm not saying you have to split squat double your body weight either.